Hello everyone and welcome to my video. Today I'll be showing you how to improve your Mindustry PvP gameplay, how to avoid beginner's mistakes, or how to fix your win rate if it's very low. Be sure to like and subscribe, and without further to say, let's begin. The first real problem that most beginners do is place their drills manually. Well, yeah, you can do it and they will produce resources to you. You really shouldn't do it. Should have a scheme that will basically put immediately all the drills you need and just need to make a way to the core. So you don't have to actually make it or do it, but it's very big of a deal when you try to outsmart your opponent, and you just waste a lot of time by placing all the drills like that. So yeah, you should do it, but it's not the biggest deal because if you're really good at it, you can actually place all the drills manually. It just would take more time, a bit more resources, and takes a lot more practice. So, this first things first said, but what is actually other problems that might be cause of people not using schematics? Well, people start doing something like checkers, and that is really bad habit, really a bad thing, because by doing something like this, you just force yourself into an endless loop of wasting resources and not making any progress. I think personally that checkers might be good, but it's if you don't have any schemes and you actually need to do something to make your production like at least a bit speedy, a bit optimized. But if you have some schemes or might use it, then you should totally consider using them. For example, this scheme for silicon. It really looks quite simple. You just put it on sand and you make sure you use bridges to deliver gravel to it. But I actually seen very many people using checker instead of this scheme. Well, it's more efficient, it's faster, takes less resources, and you can immediately use it to produce your units like flares or monos if you add a lead way here. So yeah, I think it's a very good thing that you have schemes like this because the diversity of them actually shows not only the skill of player, but how may predetermine how you win the game. Because if I started putting like this, like I put silicon smelters, then I put waste to them. It's very slow, you'd say it takes a lot of time, but it's very not effective. And by that you also might have seen that there are set amounts of smelters that you need to use. It's not like you need a million smelters or a million graphite presses. No, it's actually more like 6 to 10, maybe 12, if you put double the size of the scheme, because else that is bigger, more, will just not be very efficient because we, you won't have enough resources to fuel all these systems. The same goes with graphite, but it's actually a bit easier because the schemes like this exist where you can just put it and forget about it. Oh, by the way, pro tip, actually 4 graphite presses on 4 drills each can be held with just regular conveyor. You don't need any titanium or bridges or anything. But it's a very fun thing about conveyors. You can use them, but they have several issues which I can say in one word. They are slow. They are very slow, they are not efficient enough, and It just is not good when you see how your resources move very slow. The better thing to use is junctions. They might be a bit trickier to use, you might need more skill, but at the end of the day, look at this result. I start almost at the same time. I, re I really messed up, sorry. Uh, where is it? Item source. I will start them at the same time, but you'll see immediate difference when junctions will be much faster than regular conveyors. You see how these resources travel like at the same, maybe a bit different, but almost the same speed into them. But look at this, there's a noticeable difference between. Maybe it's small, maybe it's a min-max, but when you actually think about it, the more resources you can carry, the bigger pushes you can make. So basically it means that if you want to actually succeed in your games, you have to use every opportunity you have. And by that I mean use junctions. But you may ask, how do I turn a junction? For example, if I do something like this, how to actually turn it. Then you use underflow gates. They are really cool, but they have a side effect. If I do junctions and then I do something like this, resources from this underflow gate will go into this titanium conveyor. So you really should use all junctions or no junctions at all, or like think about them when you put them. So that's about the drilling part, the schemes usage. But I'd also like to recommend you one mod. It's called Extended UI. You actually might see this table to the left of my or to the right of my screen, or the unit amount. It's actually very useful. You can use schemes immediately, put everything, or if you want, you can actually choose what do you want. For example, I have autofill buildings function that actually makes my drone automatically fill any turrets, any factories I have, which is quite useful when you are in the middle of a fight and you see that your um, your defenses are running out of ammunition. So that's the end of the schemes part. So let's proceed to the second part, the game plan. How do you actually play? What is the correct game plan, and how do you actually do everything? Most servers have this thing called default speed, which is actually 2 times the regular speed of the game. You really don't need to rush anything, but I personally recommend putting at least two big copper setups like this in the start of the game. Then immediately after that, put at least one lead drill complex so that you have all the basic resources. Remember, it should take about a minute and a half, so you don't waste too much time on it. Don't commit to like using every single copper square. Don't think that if you are placing something like this, for example, if you're placing something like this, don't think that it's a waste. Don't remove this, because sometimes if you just deliver it to the core, it's actually more useful to save those resources. They could be good, yeah, it would be useful later on. So, as I said, you start by setting up your copper and the lead production. It's really not that hard when you understand the basics, because you just use this to extend to manipulate your further factory, and the better copper factory you have, the better, the more you can get defenses and factories. So let's say I have like one set of copper lead drills, two sets of copper drills, and what now? I do not put graphite and start drilling it. I actually opt to start placing silicon smelters and immediately after that, I start using flares, producing them, so I can rush my opponent, which we'll talk about later in the third part, and not actually waste any time doing that. Remember, you don't actually need to do this. You can just use it. You can just take silicon from it to your core, but and play more defensively. But honestly, I'm saying and what I'm seeing. If you play defensively, your opponent will just outgrow you. He'll get a big number of flares and just destroy you as a whole. So let's say I'm already at a minute 3. I've made some silicone production. I made some flares, and what now? I start setting up graphite because it's very important resource later on in the game, as well as silicon. Those are two the most important resources that you can actually defend at all costs. I'll talk about it later. Right now, on the minute 3, you extend your silicon production, make it bigger, larger, and make a graphite production. If it's done, you immediately don't hesitate. You just start placing pneumatic drills to actually start drilling your titanium, because I see many times that people just stop about this point. They start putting like a million air factories, start actually producing so many flares, and they cannot penetrate my defense because I have like several scatters, but they just waste their resources and time. So very important rule: do not hesitate by constructing more factories and outgrowing your opponent. If you see that opponent doesn't have titanium, it's not like you're doing it too early. It's more like you just need to outspeed him. Use every opportunity to actually win the game and not just play friendly and nice, because Mindustry PvP is not something you wanna be nice at. So let's say it's minute 5, I've set up my titanium and actually everything is built. What now? Oh, by the way, don't worry, I'll show you at the end of the video example how does a good factory look, what you should do, and I'll quickly recap everything that I've said at this part. So let's say I have titanium, what now? I put laser drills. I usually prefer making like 2 of them, because for me it's enough that because I immediately, when I get 75 thorium, I immediately switch to air blast drills and start drilling thorium with them. But some players just opt using only 2 or making more of laser drills. That's up to you, but that's not the most efficient way, and at the same time it's not a bad thing to do. So about time codes, about you need to have thorium before minute 6 or there. I'd say even at minute 5 you should already have thorium, so you won't actually lack any progress further. So after thorium you set up plastan, plastanium, and after that you don't really do anything, because yeah, most even pro players, good players, set up their Plastinium before it's about 8th minute or 7th minute, so it's not like you have much time to do something in these 10 minutes that I'm talking about. So just remember, minute 1 is copper and lead, minute 2 to 3 is silicon and graphite, minute 5 is titanium and thorium. Minute 6 and 7 is plastanium. When you've done this, you'll have a solid production that will actually not rely on some chance that or will lack something, and you'll play in the mid game comfortably. You'll make like phase viewers and some other stuff, but it's not like it's required. All this that I'm showing is required, but later things are not. But let's not forget about defense, because I really see people often just forget about it. They make their factory, tidy it up, but not really doing anything to protect it. I really recommend using just single scatters. You put them like this around your factory one by one, and after that you just fill them up with, for example, the mod, and you're all set. They have a big enough ammunition to actually hold for some time after before you revisit this area. But sometimes if enemy pushes very hard, you should reinforce them by making like double scatters. But there are some logical functions that make sure as you use your units as couriers. For example, this one. This makes sure that you use your flares to deliver ammunition to your scatters. It's really neat, it's really nice, but it's not required. You can just use yourself as a courier. So let's say you have something like this. You have full setup, you have everything, but at the same time you actually don't really understand what to do with your units. You have like 72, 70 flares, but no idea what you do, what to attack, and how to not just waste them. I'll talk about it in the third part of the video, because that's the end of part 2. But sure. So, I just load into a PvP game and I'll be showing you what to do. So first, I make my copper production. I use one drill and I don't have any resource for another. I really recommend you scouting out the map so you see where are the copper fields so you can actually get them. Don't hesitate using your drone to actually drill those resources, because at the beginning you won't have a lot. So I'm playing against my friend. We'll be showing you how to actually do properly everything in PvP. So don't forget you need a solid copper production. I said you need two, but actually the more the better. So you don't actually have to make three or more, but sometimes you just need to do it to successfully win the game. So as I said, we use underfall gates to turn, and after that, when we have some lead and some copper, we really start thinking about silicon. It's about that part that many noobs just forget about. You don't have to do it that fast, but the faster you do it, the better lead you'll have, and the better lead you'll have, the easier you'll win the game. Also, don't forget that silicon smelters require energy to actually work, as well as air stations. So you really should put some energy generators. I really like this design by Pobornik because it's very cheap, it's very fast, and you'll very much benefit from it when using it. So, as you see, I started making my silicon production, I started making drones, and you see my friend is also making some progress, but he actually opted for the graphite way, which I think is a mistake, because he'll soon realize that I have a lead, a firepower lead. I'll start smashing his cores while he will just stay and wait for me to do it. Or he'll need to waste resources on his defense. Don't forget putting so many scatters so you don't actually lose some parts of your infrastructure. And immediately after that, I start rushing him so he won't have any chance. It's really a simple concept that when you have stuff, you rush, and when you don't, you don't. But some players just forget about their troops, use them not in a bad way and just lose the game ultimately. Like for example, me now. I just forgot about my troops and because of that he destroyed some. See what he does? He loads his scatters, but it's not enough. He's not fast enough, so he just gives up. Uh, I asked him for to continue our play because I haven't shown you everything. So you might see that he lost a core, he lost some resources, but it's not actually over for him. You don't actually have to give up. He's a bit of a noob himself, but you really should not do it. Like, you see right now, I put some defenses on my cores, I don't forget them. I have some silicon production. I'll put more of it, and I'm doing fine. And even if you lost like a core or two, you shouldn't give up. Like if you lost a lot of cores, then yeah. But like one core is not the end of the world. You see, I'm using mod called Extended UI. It's actually very useful to see all the schemes, the minimap, the autoload, and last but not least, units. I see that he has nothing. I can check it like this. He tries to do something, but it's really it's too late for him. You should really don't forget about controlling your units. Like for example here, I just send them and I forget about them immediately. They start harassing his factory, and it's really not that hard, but when you do it, you really will see the difference when you just don't care about them or you do care about them. Don't hesitate destroying his scatters while he's trying to put those, because if you do, he won't be able to do it. So he surrendered. So as I showed guys, this was a PvP with my friend. He's not very good, but he's not bad. I'd say, well, yeah, he's bad, but he's still my friend and he's just learning. As all of my viewers that will find this video interesting. So if you follow all my tips, all my instructions, you'll actually succeed in your PvPs, have a better start, and sometimes even demolish your opponents, as an example I've shown. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.